Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I got everybody on live at the same time this week. Woo! Welcome to the Clarity Hotline. We're going live answering your burning life questions. And I swear each week I figure out a way to get more and more comfortable on these calls. And so welcome to Sweater Life. This is how it's going to be today. Thanks for coming on. So I promised myself I wouldn't cry on this one. Woo! So let's do this. I got to pull up my notes because we did have some questions come through, but again, I prioritize the questions that come on live. Okay, let's start with obviously an inhale and an exhale. And we're going to do this intentionally. So with that inhale, think purifying, beautifying, energizing, heartwarming thoughts. And then exhale, long and slow, really deliberately exhale those anxious, worry, fearful thoughts, especially the paralyzing ones, the ones that just get you and keep you stuck. Just keep doing that until it feels good. And I like to do an open mouth exhale because if my body is not yet settled and so my mind and body aren't rested, they're restless, then it's like, open mouth exhale really helps calm the body and bring it in sync with the mind's intention to slow down. Which is why after like yoga or after, first thing in the morning after waking up, meditation is a lot smoother, maybe smoother, easier to get into than if you were like just, meditating right after chasing a toddler around. So it's going to feel different. All still good though. All still good. Okay. So last inhale and exhale. Let's make sure we end right. I'm ready. I don't know about you guys. I got my tea. This is a mug my dad bought me. My favorite right now. And my waters, all my drinks. So let's get into it. Again, if you have questions, chime in. I've got both chat boxes open so I can see. I'm on YouTube and Instagram. For those of you who don't know my setup here, I'm on both and taking questions on both. Okay, really quick. Think of somebody that you're really grateful for and send them some energy. Send them some energy, some love. It doesn't even have to be with words, just energetically send that good energy out. It's going to allow you to have a lot more clarity on this call today when you kind of send that good energy out and you just become like this magnet. You attract kind of more of that good feeling. So good way to start. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Yvette. I'm the declutterist, and I'm just helping you get 360-degree life clarity because that is the only way through the chaos and madness and clutter of life to love and peace and joy and abundance. And so in this next hour, I want to take any questions that come up. And no question is off limits. I guess I can choose not to answer it though. So don't get cute. But I will start with the ones that have been pre-submitted because they're waiting on me. And I one of them came in right after I teased this hotline today. So it's timely. And so I want to make sure I answer that. But I'll be honest, I'm especially here for my mamas. Because, if you are a mom and an entrepreneur, welcome to your fan club. It's a lot of work to be a mom. It's a lot of work to be an entrepreneur. And the two combined, if we could just make it that much more sweeter, then let's do it. And that is my mission in life. Right. I always say right now, right? Because we are always evolving, always changing. So I want to leave room for that. Okay. So let's see. So let's answer Barb's question that came in. She says, why am I not advancing in life? And So I think she asked this one because of the topic that the video of this week's YouTube video that went out is about this, and so I think she's kind of like tying the two together. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that little plug for this week's YouTube video. But so she said, so she's asking, why am I not advancing in life? And I think we all can kind of feel that question, like, so. But my first response is, are you sure you're not advancing in life? Are you sure? Who says? Who says? I'd love to know why you think that. Since I probably won't hear from you in order to steer the conversation any which way, I'm going to go ahead with the second part of this answer to your question. And did you know that 100% of people let me not botch this up, 100% of people don't know they're distracted in life until they've done a strict, disciplined distraction assessment. And why I say that is because we act out of both fear and love. We act unconsciously and consciously. And there are habits, behaviors that come as a result of those decisions we make when faced with those two options. Okay. And without confirming that we are acting out of love, right? The conscious path, that without confirming in our spirit that that's what we're doing, that's our clarity, right? Without getting time and breathing into clarity, then we kind of make some rash decisions, some impulse decisions, maybe not as instinctual and insightful decisions, which are grounded in our intuition. Then, we can kind of be looking at getting really distracted. And I think a distraction is what is in our way. It's like, it's clutter. It's the things that, if we were really honest with ourselves, don't feel congruent with the life that we want to lead and the vision we have for ourselves and the path forward that we believe is for us. Okay. So a lot of purpose in there. But ultimately, I would say that is a distraction, right? Not following your instincts, not following your bliss, not following your purpose, your passion, all the things that bring you alive. So here's what I also want to offer up for this question is the ultimate distraction is getting caught in what's next without really giving what now space and time to it be acknowledged, like what is now? What now do I feel? Do I believe? Do I know? And then we jump so much into what's next. And so we're kind of living from that future distant place with skills we haven't yet learned because we haven't crossed the many hurdles that the future version of you took to get there, all those steps in between. And so we're acting from this like future-based place without the life lessons to gird us up, to give us the confidence to even be there. So there's a disconnect, right? There's that gap. And we're always concerned with, when in clarity work, to close the gap. And my husband's asking if I want coffee. See how, is that a distraction? Sure, I'll take coffee. And don't ask any more questions and throw me off my game with these questions about coffee. I'll take almond milk. Okay, back to the biggest distraction, which is putting what's next over what now. Because you might be in an emotional state right now, and that is really prohibiting or getting in the way of you becoming conscious in this moment and really taking in the moment and being here and now and present and seeing what matters most in this moment right now so that I can make a decision from this place, not way back then or way over there, but this place right here. And when you're always rooted in the present, you'll never go wrong. You'll never go wrong. If you're always rooted in the present, you will never steer yourself wrong. And so, and there's a lot to presence. Okay. I feel like I'm getting myself into a hole there. There's a lot to presence, being present with what is. It's not just being, oh, I see the cup and I see, the trees and stuff, and I know where I am and I'm sitting in this chair. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. There's a depth to presence. And so that's just surface level. That's not the presence I mean. And this is kind of interesting because there is a deeper side to business, and there's a deeper side to anything, motherhood included, since we're on the subject of that. Because, I am a mom, and so I can't disconnect from that. There's that deeper side of this in business. It's like when you're rooted in what matters most right now, then you can make decisions for yourself that feel congruent with where you want to go in your business. You're not following the herd. You're not doing what everyone else is doing. You're very much like sure about, I want to follow the path that feels best for me. And we are relational people, so that gets complicated. Because, we can't just make decisions on our own and for ourselves. If you're a mom, you know that you've got little babies to worry about and make sure that they're raised up. If you're married, your partner, right? If you're in business with somebody, your partner. If you or your team, if you are in any public facing job, you've got your clientele or your constituents, like the people who look to you for some sort of authority, right? So I don't know if we can kind of disconnect from that, but there is a depth to business in that it's like the spiritual journey and following your bliss, making every day really inspired and exciting for where you want to go in your business and in life. Anyway, I'm rambling on that one. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna, I guess, go into that one. Barb, if there's more questions, if I didn't answer your question, let me know. But I would say, ask yourself, how can I get rooted into the now and understand where I am? And maybe I am more ahead than I thought I was. And then from that place of like acknowledging all that you went through to get to this place, maybe you'll realize, oh man, I did advance a lot. We talked last week about like resume building and how life is a lot like that, and transferable skills and things like that. It's same goes for like you advancing in life. There's you advancing in every level, in every aspect, every iota of who you are, even in size, in smarts, in love, right? In how much you're able to love in this world without all the stuff that holds love back, like unforgiveness and pettiness and gossip and judgment and all that stuff that gets in the way of love. Okay, so the next question is, I'm glad we have questions pre-submitted because there's no live questions coming in unless I'm missing them on this YouTube screen. I don't think I am. I have to look into that. But I am seeing Instagram coming. Okay, so Carla asked, what's the number one tip for mompreneurs since I don't have time to watch videos as I'm a mom of 5? Okay, so good question. So yeah, I mean, busy mom, busy life. And what's the number one tip for mompreneurs since I don't have time? I'm curious. That kind of goes to the distraction question. Like, deeply understanding what you're distracted by, because if you're busy, you're probably distracted. There's probably things that are getting in the way of you being your most productive, most efficient self. What am I? Voice just go out. Okay. And so I just want to kind of throw that out there, because if you can simplify things for yourself, I would say do so. If you think you've already have, if you like, no, I'm down to, I just do X, Y, and Z all day. Well, simplify even more. Simplify even more. If you've simplified and you still don't feel a weight lifted off of you, then simplify some more. If you don't feel the lightness of a lighter mental load, of less burden on your back, then simplify some more. Okay. I wrote some notes to this one, so I want to see if I've already kind of said it. What's the number one tip for mompreneurs? Because I will obviously want to answer that, not just say, simplify your life. The number one tip for entrepreneurs kind of goes back to responding to fear or love. I would say that when you're a mompreneur, you're limited on time, limited on bandwidth. You have to make decisions fast. You don't have time to like research and study and read a book about how to parent this child. It's like, it's go time. You got to raise this child to the best of your ability. And all your skills and smarts and know-how up to this point right now, get in the game. And that is kind of like, business. When you're firing like that, it can get really, So I would definitely recommend having rituals to ground yourself in yourself every day. Because I think it helps as a mother, and it helps as a business owner. It helps as a wife, a lover, a friend, a sister, I'm saying from a female standpoint, but you get my point. It helps in everything, because you connecting first with yourself is everything, because we only see and do and operate from this vantage point, this framework, our eyes, our mouth, our brain, our perspective. So there's nothing outside of that we have access to. Even our relationship with God is grounded in our interpretation of what we think is the relationship with God. And when we hear from him, it's ultimately bound by our beliefs in what God might say. Okay. So anyway, so on that, so you grounding yourself will make you ready for the day, make you ready for what's coming up, make you more present with your kids, more present with your clients, more present with the creation, your ideation, what really is on your plate for, this day. What's up for this day? It's going to help you with that. But ultimately, I would say if you feel too busy, because I feel like I think the deeper part of that question is that you don't have time, that you feel you don't have time. And every good CEO eventually adopts this mindset. Even if they don't at first, when they get good, they adopt this mindset of how can I simplify and spend less time doing this stuff? How can I hire it out? What can I delegate? What can I delete from my to-do list in my purview, so that I've got less weight on my shoulders, less down days, because it's just all in here and it's just like screwing me up. I can't even think straight. They eventually get to a point where how can I simplify my life so that I can enjoy what I've built, so I can live my life more fully, more with more fun, right? With the adventure, the time and money freedom to actually enjoy where I am. And I think if we don't approach our business from day one from that standpoint, or from our with our lives, then we can easily just start to believe that that's just the way it goes, and defer our happiness and on our burden-free life, our clutter-free life for that day one day. It's hard. It's hard to keep it that way, to keep it going smoothly, um, without other people bringing in things that could trigger the the cluttering of all that. So it's like you take your ritual of grounding yourself in this day, prepare yourself for the day, and then you're going to see more clearly through the day. And that's, hold on, I got to plug this in. Hold on one second. And that is really key to being able to simplify and do what matters most. So I'm a big believer in less is more, obviously, and not doing more than you have to, more than is necessary when it comes to really anything, because it doesn't leave you any room to do other things if you're constantly just filling your time and space with stuff. All right, let's see. I feel like I overdid that question, that answer. So any questions that come on, please, as you're coming on, thank you for coming on. And yes, I do see the chat on YouTube too. And you guys coming on, so thank you, thank you. Say hi when you get here. And I'll be honest, if you ask a question and I don't say your name, it's because I'm scared to mispronounce your name, because not everybody's handle is their name. And so it's like, do I just call you that? So if you want me to say your name, you can always write your name in there with the question. I just, some of these things, you just don't know. It's like, where's the pause? It's not one word all the time. Okay, so we answered T's question, Barb's question, Carla's question, and there's so many questions that come in, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'll save this one for later. Hopefully there's live questions. Hi. Hopefully there's live questions so I don't have to get through all of some of them. But I mean, it's good. It's a time filler, so it works for me. Hey, keep them coming. If you ask them on a replay, I'll funnel them into the queue, the question queue. If you ask me on email, I typically prioritize those over any kind of the replies. I'm only telling you that because that's just the way I think. My email list is, I love my email list. If you're not on my email list, get on my email list. You guys invest your time with me. You're on my email list, right? You gave of yourself, your time and stuff, to get on my email list. So I just want to treat you right. And so if you ask a question, like most of these have come through that way, via email, then I definitely answer your questions. This next question is a business question, so it's a far stray from what we just were talking about, but it's just a business question. And she asks, is Skool the way to go right now? Skool. Does anybody know what Skool is? It's kind of like the rival to Facebook for community building. And it's really just, I'm tripping on my words. It's growing like wildfire. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that too soon? It's California. I live in California. Anyway, it's growing fast because it's got a lot of money behind it. A big marketing budget. People talking about it who have influence and know-how and stuff, are in masterminds with the founders, and it's just getting a lot of play, a lot of love. And it's cool. It's not the only option out there for some type of portal to house your community, but a lot of people like it better than Facebook, and a lot of people don't, because it's one more app. So it's really up to you and your community. I don't think you need to decide if you're on. She didn't get into it, but she just asked if I use it. So it depends on your desires for your business right now. I don't use it. I could see using it one day, but I'm such a, like I said, I'm less is more. I like fewer but better tools, and other options out there give you more robust offerings with that community platform that I don't feel the need to go onto Skool right now. But it is a cool way too. So what Skool is it's a community platform. People sign up, they free or paid. So you house your community. If they're paid, it's essentially your membership, right? And they're accessing their peers, right? For the camaraderie of it, not to feel so alone in whatever you're doing, this journey that you're on, depending on the school that you're in. It's Skool. And then there's also ways to upsell courses, things like that. So if you've got a course, then you can like upsell that. So depending on how active you are inside of your school, that school that you're enrolled in, you can like upgrade your way into like free downloads, free classes, free courses, free workshops, so free invites, things like that, and even paid programs. So that's like, that is what that is. So I would say it really is up to you. It's on the periphery for me because I'm in actually a couple people's schools. So I've joined other people's schools and I see the cool features and I get it and it's smart. It's a brilliant plan. It's a brilliant investment for the people who invested in it. It's just, not anything that I need right now. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions that come on live? That's all that I want to take on right now. There's my coffee. Thank you. Let's see, what else can I talk about to fill our hour? Because why not? This is, we have an hour. Let's see, should I go into some of these other questions? All right. What other questions are there that feel easy enough to do right now? Okay. All right. This one is, this one's a doozy. So she's a mom, an entrepreneur, and she's working on like getting her partner to understand like what she is doing and getting his buy-in on what she's doing. And it's hard. So I'm really distracted by my husband. I kind of wish he wouldn't be right there. He's he's doing his thing, and this is this is the small house problem, but which is actually a good topic to talk about. Like, how do you work in a small house, a small space where you guys all have to kind of share the space? And it's especially true for people who work at home. And, you're kind of like, you're sharing space with kids and they're running all around and they're getting into your stuff. And, you have to like do this deep, thoughtful work, write a blog, write a podcast script, write a YouTube script. And, you have to carve out the time to get the ideas out, flesh out the script. And it's a lot of deep, heavy, heady work. If that's your field, if you're not just selling like affiliate products and things like that. But even then, some of the marketing plans around that get complicated. And so, need your attention and heavy thought. But anyway, especially the work that I do, I like demand, I just can't work within noise unless I'm just doing admin. But the work that I do, the clarity work, especially obviously if I'm on with a client, nobody can be around me. I can't even see you. I need nothing in front of me. If I'm on the phone or on Zoom, and I just need that person, right? I just need to be there. And it's just like a problem. It's like I have to make sure that I've got like completely uninterrupted time. And so that's one of the problems my husband and I face, if he's here at home too, because it's like, okay, I need the time, I need the space. And then it's like, where do we go? What do we do and where do we go so that we can make it happen? Anyway, so okay, back to this question. Now that I have some privacy, since I am talking about relationships and it is stuff that, you know, he and I even go through. And so she's a mom and she's an entrepreneur, and she says she's feeling a lot of struggle getting her buy-in from her husband. And that's me paraphrasing a very long and drawn out question. And it's fair because like you just kind of want to get it all out there to make sure that you get the clarity behind how to get through it. And relationships are a heavy, heavy thing. It's a heavy, heavy topic. It's such a I think the relationships in your home affect how you show up in business. And so it's a very honest, very appropriate, and very lucrative, let's be honest, question, so that you can do your best work and make sure that you're not distracted. It all is tying in. This is cool. Not distracted by like some emotional thing you're dealing with. Not distracted by some bad news you got. And if you got bad news, and I'll speak from my own personal recent experience, if you get bad news and you need to take a break off of just being social and out there, then take the break. Take a break, because you're not honoring yourself if you don't need a break and don't take it. If you don't take the break you need, that sounds better. If you need a break and you don't take it, you're not honoring yourself. So be honest and true to yourself and what you need. Don't let an algorithm be your boss. Trust me, even if you take a break on social, many influencers out there say take the break and you come back and actually the algorithm doesn't forget you. It just keeps on, oh, hey, she's back. All right, let's do this. So anyway, you could take your break. But, the buy-in conversation is a tricky one. Because let me make sure. Okay, because I see some YouTubers coming in. Okay, I see you. I have my face to Instagram. I'm sorry. It's just like more interactive on Instagram. I'm new to the YouTube live space, so I'm working it out. I want them to know I love them and I love you, IG, and I love YouTube too. There's enough room in this heart for both. Okay, so back to this buy-in. It's a tough thing because it's like, if you're not making money, how do you like qualify your the merit of the time you need, right? And a lot of times we're going about it the wrong way. We're going about it the wrong way. When you approach it in that way, when it's a purely financial matter, it's going to be hard for anyone to buy into that. But if there's vision behind it, if you've thought through your idea, if you know that this is in fact your passion and purpose in life, and to spend time on it brings you alive, then there's a different conversation, right? That's a conversation that any partner would love to hear from their partner, that, oh, you're interested in this? Absolutely, you should spend some time on that creative expression. And so if you're not identifying with your business in that way, and it's more of like, oh, it's just a means of money, getting some money in there, then the expenditure to support that interest, to support that endeavor, the time, the money, the investment, the sacrifices everyone needs to make around that feels less, what's the word? Desirable. Feels less desirable. I'm not as interested in giving into your desire for time. I was already an entrepreneur before I got married, so there was never really that conversation. But having kids did make it hard to. It's like, well, I'm a mom first. I'm a mom first, and so it's like we both thought that. My husband and I, like, I'm a mom first, absolutely, and I still think that. I still believe that. And so everything is second to my role as mother. So much so that I'm just barely like fitting in myself into my, not just barely, but like, since my my youngest is now a preschooler and I have more time because he's in preschool. Now it feels like then I was able to kind of give myself more time for self-care and my own rituals and my own creative expression. So there was kind of this tug between me spending any other time on other things other than being mother. And I don't know if that was like a traditional view he held or what, but I had it too because I struggled with getting back into like I had, and I talk about this everywhere. Anywhere you watch a video of mine, I'm telling you the story of like after I had kids, I had such a bad case of identity crisis and imposter syndrome, and I was struggling to move through all that. Also depressed. Postpartum depression hit me bad, especially after my youngest. And it was like this literal climbing out of this hole that I felt I was in. And you need a lot of support during that. And that's kind of the support you get if you ask for it. That's the support you're going to get. And then as things start to get smoother with that, you start to get more proficient in some of your the way your day runs and the way you are with your kids and how when they start to when you can actually blink again and you don't have to keep your eyes on them 24/7, that kind of feeling. When that starts to come in, then enters like this new identity. Okay, well now for me, I'm mom and entrepreneur again. I still had my business, but a lot of it was passive. A lot of my business that kept me afloat was passive income. Yes, I took on some private clients. Yes, I still had my membership. So that recurring income was like what kept me afloat. But it wasn't any, like I needed to get back into my work, right? My deep work, what I love about being an entrepreneur. I wanted to get back to that. And that was more possible. More time was allotted to it when I felt like, okay, my kids are taken care of. They're in preschool. Okay. And it only came really after I attended to self. It only came after I started to implement the rituals of self-care again, take care of myself, do all the things that brought me back to who I was. Then business kind of came in and became something that felt deserving of my time. It is this whole game of anything, even career. A lot of moms I work with actually want to start a business before they go back to work. And so during maternity leave, it's in a way it's like this mad dash to try to get a business up and running before they have to go back to work. So maybe, just maybe, they don't have to go back to work and they can stay home and spend their days with their babies. That's a valid concern, to try to, what can I do? But then you lack the depth of the why behind starting a business like that. So then it's rushed, then it's messy, then it's clunky, then it doesn't really feel right. Nothing really jives. And then you're trying to maintain that your runway gets longer, your income revenue, maybe your safety net gets more and more depleted. So it's just, I like to help you build a dream business, one that isn't a compromise over what lights you up. It's not you choosing money over fulfillment, because fulfillment is just kind of like a perk along the way when you're following your path and you are committed and driven and clear. Like money just comes. I'm one of the many people who say, money's easy to make when you've got because a lot of people are saying that right now. And I feel weird saying it but it is. It's only because I should talk about money more, because I think we need to normalize, especially in the communities I'm in. I want to normalize that conversation around money being easy to make, and dreaming bigger and living according to that dream, and not denying yourself those big dreams because you think you can't have them. So the way that we just got to that, the way that where you just went with me was one of the reasons why a conversation with your partner about this business that you want to start is a little bit more complicated than, oh, well, I'm going to start this business and I'll maybe, help out the family. My goal is to help out the family. I mean, what is your goal for starting a business? What is your goal for making money? For me, because we all have that same goal, to make money, to make ends meet, to carry out a livelihood, right? That's sustainable, that we can do things we want to do or otherwise, and things we want to do cost money. And so it's just the currency of it, the exchange of it. When you don't base it on that, something so fickle and fleeting and fake as money, and you instead focus on the energy of attracting to you abundance, joy, peace, love, and all those feelings that ultimately you're searching for when you go after money, then the real conversations can be had. The real conversations with your partner can be had. And that is, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, especially when you are a mom, especially if you are on maternity leave. There's a lot of energy output and not a lot of input. And it's not always a great time to bring up with your partner, like, oh, let me start this business on maternity leave. But there are things you can do. There are things you could do, like this soul searching we talked about, dreaming up what it would feel like if, and what do you want to do? What is your soul calling out to do in this lifetime? What resonates with your spirit as you giving back and paying it forward? All that comes into play too. When you think about making money and doing something that you love, it's very much a give and take vibration when you start a business. And even when you go out for a career, you work up your resume and start interviewing. It's like the desire to be in something you love doing is always there. It never goes away. And rather than starting something that is completely off kilter with that, then it makes the journey that much more enjoyable. And when you're ready for that, as maternity leave maybe ends for you, or you've got more energy back, you've taken care of self, and you can have those deeper conversations, that's kind of a time to bring it up. But you should be carving out time for self now, whenever, always, anyway. And what you feel with that time for self, what you feel with that time is up to you. Nobody gets to deprive you of any sense of feeling deserving of self-care. Everyone needs self-care. So even in the early stages of motherhood, when it is so much the baby needs the mommy, there should still be time that she gets to sleep, rest, take a shower. And I say should because it's we know it to be true. It's not always the case, in every household, and especially for single mothers, it's not always the case. Especially if you live far from your family like we do. We had to build our village from the ground up, in the sense of people who might be helping hands for us. And so, that's what we actively had to do when we were building our community. We were kind of simultaneously building our village. And it's not always so easy, right? As if like, oh, hey, mom, can I drop the kids off? That would be 100 times easier than what we've had to do to, give ourselves a break and go on a date and things like that. But let's see, I want to kind of close that out on this question, because I think it's a big one. It's a good one. Getting the buy-in of your partner when you're starting a business. And I would just invite you to do some soul searching first and discover, really, because it's going to be a wrestling match. I'm talking specifically to this person who asked the question, who's a mom. Now, people who aren't a mom won't feel the tug of war for their attention as much as a mom, as much as a parent does. And it's kind of like, unless it really feeds your soul, the urge to go do it is not going to feel as pressing as, being with your babies. So if it's simultaneous and both are in there, right? The love for your child and wanting to do for your child, and the creative expression, living in your purpose, walking in your passion, all of that is like, if they're both there, then the finding of time becomes easier for both. And even if you have to argue to get the time, your clarity is backing you. Your clarity in the request backs you, and the universe is behind you, right? Because then the wind is at your back. You're just flying through life. All right, so we can start to close out. And again, thanks for just coming on and asking your questions. Live questions always go first. I'm going to try to just set that a rule and as incentive for anybody to join me live. But I do I do answer questions that are pre-submitted, because I understand not everybody has the time to meet exactly when I've got the time. So it's fair. It's fair that you ask a question on a replay, or you submit a question over email, the DM, whatever you want to do to reach me. If it's sent in a way that I can comprehend, it will make its way into the question queue for our Clarity Hotline. All right, I will see you next week. Peace. All right, you guys too. Peace.